My name is Xavier Font. I work at Leeds Beckett University, and the department I'm involved in is called responsibletourismcommunication.com. We have a website that will help you to look at examples as well as methods on how to better market and communicate sustainability if you are a hospitality or tourism business. The reason why we've created this site, as well as the research that we're working on here, is because we find an increasing number of companies that feel shy about communicating the things they do to be more sustainable. They think that customers will not be interested, or simply that there is too much risk in communicating something for which they can be criticized later on. And what we basically found by now in our research is that companies are communicating about 30% of the things that they're actually doing in practice. Either because they're not aware that some of the things they do are sustainability practices, or because they simply think that they're not going to be very successful as methods for marketing to customers. So the research that we're trying to do is finding ways in which we can reduce this missed business opportunity, and we do this by putting together work in 5 different areas. Who do I tell? Why do I tell? What will I tell? Where and when? And the first issue that we want to look at is basically this: who do I tell? What is it that I'm going to be trying to tell customers, and particularly who is it I'm going to be communicating with? The issue there is that there is clearly a number of tourists that are not particularly interested in sustainability, but the way in which we communicate to them has a lot to do with whether they're interested or not. So we find about 40% of customers that basically say, look, when I go on holiday, what I want to do really is sit back and relax and not think about trying to do good for planet Earth. And that is partly a result of the way in which we have communicated to them. So the message that we're communicating to them are not particularly helpful because we sound like we're evangelizing with some of those messages. This links back to the idea of why do I tell? So what is the reason why I'm trying to tell these customers that I'm a more sustainable company? And all too often, the way in which we communicate to them is just trying to hope that my customers will be altruistic and they will buy my product because it happens to be green. However, customers buy products because those products fulfill their customer needs. And so we need to think about ways in which we'll communicate something that will make my customers feel good, something will help my customers understand better what my product is, and therefore if you want them to change their behavior, you'll give them something in return, something that will allow my customers to be more encouraged to buy products off season and to find ways of reducing seasonality by encouraging products that can only be found at that time of year, or potentially finding ways in which my companies can be upsold to, and therefore they can buy more products from us on top of the products already going to buy from us in the first place. Linked to this, I suppose what's important is to consider what is the message I'm communicating to my customers. And I'm looking at this because very often customers are being told simply, buy from me, I'm a sustainable company. And the message that I'm a sustainable company in itself does not sell. We need to turn it around and say to the customer, you will be able to have more fun with me because I'm sustainable. Or you will be able to get to understand and know this destination and receive a better service because I'm sustainable in this way. Or you will get to trust on us, and you can have lower risk of buying the wrong product because we are sustainable in this particular way. The idea really here is to turn it around and to focus first and foremost on what is it the customer will get from the service, and secondly, what is it that we're doing as a company to let the customer achieve those services. Linked to this is worthwhile considering the idea that the when and where I communicate sustainability to my customers is really important. And particularly if we first look at the where do I communicate, there's a variety of channels I can use. If on every one of those channels, effectively all I'm saying is, I am a sustainable company or I have sustainable products, is not really going to work because it's going to be very repetitive. So what we need to really work on is considering how different channels can be used for communicating different things. And some of the channels like certification and awards are very useful as a way of raising awareness, but particularly providing external endorsement. So all the other things you'll say about sustainability can be trusted. But some of the channels like online and offline journalists can be used as a way of reaching customers directly and have not only the endorsement, but with something that's much more emotional, it's much more of a story that tells the customer what's in it for them. You can then have clearly messages on your website as well as your own social media. The problem with those is that very often all we're promoting are really very boring environmental policies, and we need to think of ways in which the communication on our website can be made to be much more exciting. And finally, we can use third-party online distribution channels, but we need to consider which one of those will represent our sustainability needs and practices in a way that's meaningful to what the customer is looking for. The final area of work I want you to consider is, when do I tell? And the reason why I'm telling you this is because very often we repeat the same message at different stages in the customer journey. But if you think about it, your customer will need different sources of information to take different decisions at different points in the customer journey. So the information your customer needs to know about you before they decide to book with you and you convince them that you're the right company is rather different to the information they will need from you once they've already decided to book with you, and now they're considering what is it they need to bring with themselves, or what kind of things can they plan during their stay, or the information they'll clearly need on arrival about the things they can do on the day, or the information they need while they're staying with you, or finally the information they will need to help them to either recommend to other customers or to return to stay with you in the future. The reason why I'm giving you this very short introduction is to encourage you to go to my website, responsibletourismcommunication.com, to follow me on Facebook as well as Twitter, so you can get more ideas about different methods of communicating sustainability, as well as different examples of companies already doing some of these things very well.